Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Independence Day version of Speaking of Zane. This is the 151st edition of Speaking of Zane. How about that? Good to have everybody in here tonight. We're getting a good crowd going. There's my Aunt Cindy. There's Ken. My Aunt Cindy. That's my cousin Cindy right there. She's right here in Georgia. My cousin Cindy, my cousin Toby, Steve Shirley in Nebraska, Brenda Lusk in Michigan, Ken in Florida, my Aunt Paula, who I don't know where she's at. She's either in Florida, Alabama, or Tennessee. She's going to tell us where she's at. I know she's been traveling. Glad to have you in there, everybody, on this special edition of Speaking of Zane. Why is it special? Well, we're doing it on Monday. And it's our Independence Day special. Nothing really special about it. We're going to follow the same format, but actually I hear some fireworks going off out there. There's Jim Miller in Nebraska. Hey, Jimbo. Andrew Fresquez. Hey, Andrew. How are you? Good to have you in there. Good crowd assembling for Speaking of Zane. Let me turn the Braves game off here. I'm getting a little reflection there on the screen. I'll get back to that after Speaking of Zane. But sure is good to have everybody in here for Speaking of Zane. We just have a few things to chat about, a few updates on our normal challenges, and then we'll move on. This is probably only the third or fourth time we've done it on a Monday night. Usually it's because Sunday was a holiday, and indeed it was yesterday. Happy Independence Day, Patriots. Hopefully everybody is enjoying a long, relaxing weekend, celebrating the birth of our nation. I couldn't be more proud and humbled and blessed to be an American. Just an amazing thing that we're born here. Kind of the luck of the draw. You know, I really get excited when and I have a lot of people I've worked with over the years who choose to become Americans. They didn't just become Americans by birth. I think sometimes those of us that became Americans by birth kind of take it for granted. But I've known some great people I've had the honor of working with over the years who have done they didn't come over a wall. They came through the door. They did it right, and they became Americans. And they are the most proud Americans. Some of them that I have ever had the pleasure of knowing. They, in many cases, know what it's like not to be an American, and a lot of them know what it's like to live in a socialist and some even in a communist country, and they yearn for freedom. And our founding fathers, they basically said enough is enough, and they agreed that the natural state of man should be as free. Anyway, sometimes I get frustrated with natural-born Americans that just take it for granted, and I get so thrilled when I'm able to talk to somebody that came here legally, went through everything you have to do to become an American, and they are some of the most proud Americans I've ever known. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, Aunt Paula's back in Florida after a trip that she made recently. Yeah, so it looks like one of the tracks shows the hurricane coming there into Tampa Bay. So Aunt Paula will be keeping an eye on that, and I'll have my amateur radio station up and running this week so I can monitor the Hurricane WatchNet and some other stuff. But we'll be watching that, Aunt Paula, and be sure you have a plan. I'm sure you and your son and his family have a skedaddle plan to get out of there as things become clearer. Aunt Cindy's in there from Alabama. Hey, Aunt Cindy. All right. Well, let's see what we got here tonight. There's my Aunt Mary. I got a lot of aunts. I got a lot of relatives in here tonight. How about that? I got aunts. I got cousins coming out the wazoo. Good to have you guys in there. I sure do enjoy having you guys here on, I almost said Sunday night, but it's Monday night. It's going to feel a day behind all week, that's for sure. Well, our son Jackson and oh, did I mention Lori's in there? Lori, I think I saw it. Yeah, Lori's in there. This is what you posted, Lori. I don't know what that meant. Um, I think you were probably trying to post that you were here, but that's what came up in the text. But let's see what we got here. Oh, I was going to say Jackson, our son Jackson, his wife Caitlin, and little baby Carson just walked in the door about an hour ago. They were down in the panhandle of Florida for the long weekend, visiting with Caitlin's family down there. And of course, they have a house down there still that they're renting out. So I don't know if they got over there to check on things at the house. But anyway, they just got back. It's about a 5-6 hour drive. But they are back for the week. I think Jackson starts a new gig later in the week. Let's see. Cindy says Harley says hey from Louisiana. He's down there visiting his dad's side of the family. Okay, well hello Harley. Must be out of school for the year. All right. Let's see. So they just got home. Oh, you probably saw me post about our little grandson Everett. He's 4 years old. He'd be five. What, Lori? November, I think. But he's had sort of this love-hate relationship with food. He doesn't eat very well. He has two staples: cheese pizza and cheese crackers, and that's pretty much it. But his weight gain has been sort of on decline. He hadn't been sick from it or anything, but the doc was worried enough about the weight loss that they had him in to do an endoscopy, upper endoscopy, and I guess the doc felt strongly enough about the weight loss that had a feeding tube put in, and so right now he's on this regimen. He can still eat regular, but he's on a regimen for a supplement. But just pitiful, Lori. Of course, Hannah, this is her only son, and she's not had to deal with everything that's going to come up with a kid like Lori has by now. So Lori, of course, being the good Grammy, went up there to the hospital so she could do the untasteful things that Hannah didn't want to do, like hold Everett down while they shove a garden hose up his nose. But anyway, so Lori spent quite a bit of time up there with him. But he came home yesterday. So he came home. He's okay with this thing in his nose, and he was all out today from very early this morning. He came and woke me and Lori up and was ready to go. So it doesn't seem to have any ill effects from it. But anyway, they'll I guess continue to monitor and hope for the weight gain and try to find out what the issue is. All right. Well, you remember my story last week about Jill Kimmel and her husband and arranging the honor guard and everything. Well, geez, the next day I got the most beautiful flowers from Jill, and then a nice letter from Jill, and the funeral announcement of her son, not her son, her husband, William Kenneth Kimmel, United States Army. And anyway, so I thought that was nice. That kind of closes the loop on that story. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you want to share that story with anybody, remember you can simply share on my YouTube channel. Just go back. It'll be June 28th, June 27th, June 28th edition of Speaking of Zane, the 150th edition, and people can hear that story. And if you missed last week, it is a fantastic story, and I feel lucky just to be caught up in it, just to be one little cog in the whole machine that made that work. But if you want to know more what I'm talking about and you weren't here last week, go back and watch last week's. If you need to know how to get there, I can help you, point you there to the YouTube channel. All right, so that was nice. And Lori and I we're beginning to work out. Not really. I go up and down the stairs to get to the kitchen, if that counts. But we're going to do the Running to Honor 5K with our friend Aaron Bartle up in Michigan. We're going to do that on July the 31st. So we've got about 25, 24, 26 days to train, Lori. So we have to get busy so we can walk the 5K to a good cause. Okay, well, let's see. Every week I'm a ball cap guy. You'll rarely see me without a ball cap. I even wear a ball cap at work a lot these days since everything's virtual. It depends on the meeting I'm in. If it's a customer or a partner, generally no, but if it's internal meeting, I might be wearing a ball cap. Anyway, this is actually a work-related ball cap. It's the hat of the week, and it's Cisco Meraki. I don't know if you've ever heard of those two companies. They're actually one company today, Cisco Meraki. But anyway, I've got we have a great relationship with those two companies. I used to work for Cisco actually for almost 10 years, and still work alongside them quite a bit for the last 10 that I've been at WWT. But anyway, so I'm sending a goodie bag. They're sending a goodie bag to each of my new engineer trainees that I'm working with, and they sent along some shirts and hats and stuff like that, socks, different things, socks. Anyway, so the Cisco Meraki is the hat of the week. I'm kind of losing track of how many hats I've got, but that's okay. I'd rather have more hats than I know than to have no hats at all. All right, let's see what we got here. I didn't pull any this week in military history. You know why? Because nothing compares to the 4th of July. Nothing compares to that date in history from an American military standpoint. And so I didn't take the time to go look for anything else since that's the predominant occurrence over this last week. So hopefully you got, hello, Katie Aaron up in Michigan. Good to have you in there. Hope y'all are doing well up there. All right, so that is the hat of the week. Great partnership that we have with them. I enjoy working with them. Let me see what else I want to scroll across the screen here. There we go. This one is suitable. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. We got a couple challenges. Let's go through the challenges here because for anybody that's new or anybody watching the replay, what's the whole purpose of this thing? Well, we started out, speaking of Zane, because we were afraid he was going to be forgotten. We were like, there's nothing left to keep, his name alive. I mean, he has 2 children, very young. We'll have trouble remembering him. Part of a new family. It just it got to me one day to the point where, okay, well, if I don't do it, I don't know what's going to happen. So I just got on here and started talking about Zane, and I felt good afterwards because, they say a person dies twice, once when they take their last breath, and then again when their name is no longer spoken. And I just couldn't bear the thought of that. He only spent 26 years on the earth, but he meant the world to us, just like all of our kids do. And he was a great person. Just a couple weeks ago, when I read that story about the young man that he didn't even know that he helped bought gas for, and he was just a great guy. He was worth remembering, even with the circumstances of his death, even with the way that his situation, the things it might have caused him to do, and the harm and everything. He was a good guy and worth remembering. And anyway, I just couldn't bear the thought that he would be forgotten and just a footnote. And anyway, I just decided to get on here and blab about him, and now we've been doing it for 151 consecutive weeks. And not only do I feel good that we're Lori and I are saying his name and keeping his name alive, but there's a group of people that show up here every week, and there's a group of people that watch the recording of this. There's a group of people that are aware of what we do here, um, that know about Zane and say Zane's name. And out of doing this, we've gained an appreciation for veteran cemeteries. We've gained a newfound appreciation for those that have served and those who are serving. And every time we thank a veteran or visit a cemetery or do something for a veteran or a service member or their family, in my mind, I'm doing it in honor of Zane. And a number of you have done things very purposefully in Zane's name, in honor of Zane. And I thank you for that. So um, these next couple things that I'm going to talk about, we do these regularly, and they've become sort of part of our life now and part of the way that we remember Zane. And one of them is the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. We started visiting veteran cemeteries because we all of a sudden had a new appreciation for them, and they've just become something special in our lives. And you guys have come alongside us, and anytime you travel, you you visit a cemetery and you tell us about it, and we get to talk about it, and we get to share that with other people, and it's just a beautiful thing. The other is the Thank a Vet Challenge. We're thanking other veterans, we're thanking service members, we're thanking law enforcement officers, and they deserve it. I mean, geez, that's the minimum that they should have, is know that they're appreciated. And this group right here has just done a fantastic job of letting service members, their families, veterans, law enforcement officers know that they are appreciated. Somebody in this country appreciates what they do and is thankful for them. And we track that. We have fun with it. We enjoy accumulating those and reporting on the totals, and it's a lot of fun. And we're going to do that right now. And the Veteran Cemetery Challenge, we had a couple of visits this week. Daryl, I don't know if you're in there, Daryl. I didn't see you. But if you are, hello. If you're watching the recording, hello, we missed you. But Daryl did visit Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery, which he does most weeks. And of course, his wife Wanda is buried there, and Daryl has other family members buried there and other friends buried there, and really does a great job of representing there. And then Aunt Paula, on her way through Alabama and then up eventually to Tennessee, I think you went, Aunt Paula. She stopped at Alabama National Cemetery, where her husband Mike, my uncle, my great uncle, is buried. And so there's a visit there. So we had two cemetery visits, which this week, which take us up to 438. So this relatively small group of people have made 438 visits to veteran cemeteries over the last couple of years. And a couple other related items on the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. I saw that, and this just goes to, and we've chronicled quite a few of these. This goes to our nation and what the fact that we don't leave anybody behind. The fact that if you go to war, you can be sure that America will find you and bring you home. And we continue to do that. In fact, there was a Korean War soldier, Army veteran, Corporal Paul Wilkins is his name. He had been missing in action for 70 years. And his remains were finally identified and returned to Pennsylvania, where he was laid to rest. 70 years. 70 years. And to top that, even longer than 70 years, Seaman Gerald Bailey was killed in the raid on Pearl Harbor. He was on the USS Oklahoma when it was hit. His remains were finally identified after all these years. That was 1941. And he was buried at Tahoma National Cemetery up in Washington State. last week. So I just love reading those stories about that. And we've had several speaking of Jefferson Barracks there in St. Louis, there have been several since we've been doing our challenge who have um, been identified and buried there. Just an amazing thing that we do. Okay, so we are at 438 visits to 134 different locations. All right, and the Think of Vet Challenge, wow, we had a really good week. And Aunt Paula, I don't know, you may have, I have to look back and see, but you may have beat your all-time high for the week. If I recall, you had another astronomical week earlier in the year, or not, it was last year maybe. But let me go through a couple of them here. I thanked the veteran at work, and for the life of me, I can't remember who it was and when, but I keep stumbling across other veterans at work. And if I don't write it down, I often forget. But I did have a conversation with another vet at work this week. And Ken, our friend down there in Florida, was out and about. Ken, I can't remember where you said you were at, but I know it started raining heavily and you got stuck inside the store. And because of that, Ken ended up meeting twin brother Army Vietnam veterans. Wow, what are the odds of that? I mean, our Vietnam veterans are getting up there in age, and Ken ran into two of them in the same place, two twin brothers. How about that? So that was a great story there, Ken. All right, and then let me chronicle. Let me chronicle all the thank yous that we got from Aunt Paula Pittman. Let me see, and I think I got them in order that you documented them, Aunt Paula. So let me see. Aunt Paula, when she was at Alabama National Cemetery, evidently there was a Marine being buried there, and the color guard was there, or the honor guard was there, and Aunt Paula got to thank two Marines at Alabama National. She got to thank two Franklin, Tennessee police officers. She got to thank two Shelby County Sheriff's deputies. She got to thank a Marine vet, an Air Force vet, a Vietnam vet, and a Desert Storm vet. I think she was at a neighborhood activity or event, what she said. Then at church on Sunday, she thanked three Army vets, two Air Force vets, and a Navy vet. And then to top it off, she thanked an Army Guardsman and a Navy vet. How about that? Wow. How many was that? Were you counting? That was 18 for Aunt Paula. 18. I don't know if that beat your old high, Aunt Paula. I might try to go back and look, but 18 is phenomenal. And I tell you what, that's 18 times that you made somebody's day, Aunt Paula. And that was 21 total for the week. So just an awesome job. That takes our count. Are you wondering what our count's at? 886. 886. So our next milestone is 900. 8 is 900. A partridge in a pear tree, Lori says. Oh, good job, Aunt Paula. I'm proud to be your great nephew. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, well, let's see. Next category, we usually talk about something going on with any of the great organizations that we're either connected to, admire, follow, heard about. And I tell you, it's becoming very easy to be connected with folks that are doing great work. I tell you what, as much as we hear about how terrible, things are, and how, half the country, hates the country, and everything. I'm not so worried about those, as long as the rest of us. I still think we're in the majority. Those of us that are proud Americans, love this country, know that it has warts, know that it's not perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. There was only one thing, one person ever perfect, So get used to that. Ain't nothing else perfect or gonna be perfect, including a country. But I'll tell you what, this country has done more for people in this world than any of the other countries all combined. I mean, there's no doubt about that. The most compassionate and giving country that's ever existed in all of time. And, you know, you can believe that, or you can look at the facts and they say that. And anyway, but there are a lot of great organizations that do good work in honoring our military and serving our veterans. And you don't have to look far these days. There are people doing great things. The press ain't gonna tell you about them. The folks, the negative people that don't like the country aren't going to tell you about them. They want to divide. But there are a lot of good organizations, and you know, I mentioned Lori and I have a great friend that we made, Kelly Kowal, and we talk about her all the time. And it's easy because she's always doing great work, and she has a lot of things going on all the time, and she's been such an influence and such a help for veterans, especially those that need help, that are suffering. And her retreat has helped, you know, countless people. Well, that segues to an interesting story. It's kind of an interaction that Ken had this week. And Ken, I know you don't mind if I tell the story, but Ken will often send me a little note during the week and tell me how things are going. But he sent me this story, and I was just blown away about it. And I figured I would tell it to you. And Ken, if that's all right, I'll tell everybody what you told me. But Ken was out and about doing some shopping there, and he said that he had to make a quick trip to the Dollar General to pick up some items. He said that's it's only about a mile away from where they are, and so it was the logical choice. He said that at the register, the cashier noticed his T-shirt, and it was a My Warriors Place T-shirt, and she asked him about it. Now this is in south of Tampa. Ken, remind me again. Ken and his wife are having a house built over in the Orlando area, but while they're having a house built, they're over on the Gulf Coast. Oh, by the way, yeah, you better have a bug out plan too, Ken. Um, where are you? Where you're in the same place as one of my coworkers, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. He'll pop it up there on the screen. But anyway, so Punta Gorda, yeah, Punta Gorda. So just south of Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Sarasota. Anyway, so Ken was at the register, and the cashier noticed his shirt, asked him about it, and he says, long story short, her husband Scott is suffering from PTSD, and she was wondering if My Warrior's Place would be a good place for him to visit. And Ken's like, oh my God. He says, I couldn't stop telling her that she needed to reach out to Kelly. I really hope that she does. If it wasn't for speaking to Zane, I probably wouldn't even know about My Warrior's Place. He says, our small group continues to make huge impacts. He's so right about that. We're just one little group of patriotic Americans that like to talk about interacting with veterans and sharing information with each other, and chronicling events and activities. And you just don't know now, you know, the impact that you know, My Warrior's Place could have on this young lady and her husband. And I hope she does reach out to Kelly. And Ken, I want to talk with you offline, and maybe we can help accelerate that as a team. But yeah, that's what I was going to say. Lori and Kelly will make it happen if we have to proactively reach out to that young lady. But Ken, thank you so much for sharing that. And geez, you know, if a byproduct of speaking to Zane was that some veteran suffering gets help, wow, it would be worth 151 times that we've done this. And just a wonderful story, Ken. Thank you so much for sharing that. and we won't leave that one hanging, folks. We'll take some proactive steps there. All right, so there are all kind of groups. I tell you what, every day I see new groups popping up doing good things, and I love that so much. All right, well, we had one incident this week that I saw. Um, I only saw it this morning. There was an Army Guardsman by the name of Chris Carvajal, and he was visiting family this holiday weekend in Chicago, and he was shot and killed. Uh, I don't know the circumstances. It didn't have any details, but just a terrible thing. So be thinking about the family of Chris Carvajal. Okay, let's see. Hello, Daryl. Daryl's in there. Oh, that's great, Daryl. Hey, a friend you hadn't seen since 1972. Awesome. All right, we got Jane Grismer in there, another Patriot. Hello, Jane. Good to have you in there. Thanks for joining us. We're just about to wrap it up. We were sharing our cemetery visits this week and our thank-a-vets this week, and just chatting a little bit about why we do this in the first place, and talking about the byproduct of organizations that do great work for veterans and service members. But that's why we do this. I tell you, that's enough fuel in my tank to keep me going, Ken. And I sure appreciate you sharing that story. All right. Well, remember, as you're out and about this week, short work week, remember to thank a veteran. If you come across a vet, tell them thanks. Most of all, check on your friends, whether they're veterans or not. If you got a friend that you hadn't heard from in a while, check on them. You don't know how things are going. People don't always share, the bad things going on. Sometimes you need to check on them, let them know somebody cares, especially your military buddies, for sure. Well, folks, I have enjoyed the 151st edition of Speaking of Zane, and have enjoyed a long weekend. I tell you, I was able to do a little bit of work to get prepared for the week, but for the most part, I shut it down and have just been doing things around the house. And Lori's got me planning a trip. We've got a trip that we're considering in August. So I need to get my map out, and she's got one thing planned. I might have another thing planned, modification of her plans, but we'll see how it goes. All right, folks. Well, have a great week. We'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday night at the regular time, 8:30 Eastern, and we sure look forward to it. Take care.